What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show.
Mossad, the Israeli intelligence service, knew for a year prior to this attack.
Why didn't they do something
Well,
about it?
according to this article, the word, they said that the plan was too audacious. There's no way they could have pulled it off. But if it is true, they pulled it off with perfection, because it even talked about in this article that they were going to use paragliders and they were going to, you know, exactly the way they did it. They executed it in exactly the way they said in this article. Is it true? I've been to Israel. Absolutely beautiful country. Amazing people. I was there for 6 months on a protection detail for the State Department. And our job was basically to take people from the consulate that was in Jerusalem to the embassy, which was in Tel Aviv at that time. I think it might have moved, but anyway, and we went all over the country, the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Abu Dis, Ramallah. But, you know, I don't know how a country that has been infected, but like they've been at war, so to speak, forever. Not like a war, but constant terrorist attacks. You know, they're constantly having to monitor their borders. They're constantly having to monitor their own streets. Like when I was there were 7 bombings in one day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and again, this is a long time ago, but, you know, I don't know how you take out the hatred that Hamas has, you know. How do you just get rid of it? Like, I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it is.
And it's passed down from generation to generation. And dude, you got to remember, you know, you're talking about land that was given to, like, by God. Like, this is very religious stuff. You may not think so, or some people, but there's a lot of religion involved in here too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the land. And anyway, and
guys, if you'd like to join our Patreon by hitting the link in the description below, not only does it support our show and allow us to get great guests like this and put out more content, but you're going to get exclusive access to the Julian and Alessi show, which is the show we post only on Patreon. That's with my producer, Alessi Alaman, and I, as well as some behind-the-scenes content and some extra content with guests. So hit that link in the description below, and I hope to see you over there.
It is a horrifically complex, and Lord knows I don't know 1/10 of it, but it's a horrifically complex situation. You know, I just read online, and this just goes to what you just said. How do you know what to believe?
You don't.
It's like you don't. And you know what? You just don't. It's somebody's narrative, or it's the truth. You don't know. But I just read online, and it was, you know, quote unquote, a legitimate, you know, news outlet, if you want to call it legitimate, that they said that the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence service, knew for a year prior to this attack.
Yeah. Did
they know? I don't know. If they knew, why didn't they do something about it? Well, according to this,
why didn't they do something? Well,
according to this article, the word, and I may be wrong, was they said that the plan was too audacious. There's no way they could have pulled it off. But if it is true, they pulled it off with perfection, because it even talked about in this article that they were going to use paragliders and they were going to, you know, all this, everything exactly the way they did it. They executed it in exactly the way they said in this article. Is it true? I don't know. I don't know. And that's, you know, you don't know. And the bottom line is, you know, you're dealing with deep-seated hatred.
Yes.
Okay? Like beyond your comprehension and yours and mine.
I think it's clear, and you know, let's call Hamas what they are. It's a terrorist organization, plain and simple. And there seems to be, that's getting lost in some of these conversations these days. I understand this is a very difficult topic and everything, but there's some common sense things we have to talk about this. I mean, I had Remy Adeleke in here. I was telling you about this off camera. He hunted them when he was in the Navy SEALs. He was telling me before, we've seen some of these stories come out where Israel has to bomb some of the ambulances and stuff. I remember there was one, I don't know, a few weeks ago where that happened. And I was on the phone with him a week into this war, and he's like, just to let you know, that shit's real. Like, they do hide in hospitals. They do transport around in ambulances. They hide in schools. He's like, you're going to hear Israel get shit for bombing ambulances and stuff, and I'm telling you, they're bombing terrorists when they do that.
Right.
So sometimes there are things, but then we see, there are two sides to this struggle. And I will tell you, some of the actions of Israel have been maddeningly disappointing. Taken out. I mean, they took out a refugee camp and admitted this because they were targeting one terrorist or something on the whole thing. I mean, the number of civilians, and it's hard to know what the exact numbers are. Again, I'm like you. I don't really know what to believe, and I understand there has to be a response to such a horrible terrorist attack. But the number of civilians they've seemingly indiscriminately taken out is wrong. And what's disappointing to me is that Hamas is going to play dirty. They're terrorists. I mean, we've all seen videos at this point of them, people crying and they're holding a plastic baby. They're not even like sleek about it sometimes. There was another guy, I don't know if we could pull this up, Alessi, but there's one dude who's like known as like the Hamas actor. He plays every role. You know who I'm talking about? He takes a video where one day he's like crying with like supposedly his son. The next day he's being operated on dead. The next day he's taking a drone video in the middle of the street. The next day he's like in the middle of he plays, I forget what he's even called. But like we see all that. I just don't like that, from a government on the other side that's not a terrorist group, you're seeing some propaganda too. And it makes it even more sickening because all it does is it ups the ante of anger on both sides. It gives more people political points to try to score, and that leads to what? More death.
Right.
It's so sad to me.
Yeah. To be honest with you, when that happened, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of like a long time coming. I know it sounds terrible.
No, I know what you mean.
But like, just like here, in our country, if another terrorist attack happens, I'll be like, is anybody surprised? Like, if you are, where you been living? Like, where you got your head buried in the sand somewhere. I have Israeli friends.
Yes, do I?
Yeah. And, one thing I will tell you about Israel, and I'm just going to say this because I've seen it with my own eyes. They have a huge national pride because if everybody that is in their country, man or woman, has to serve. I may be wrong. I think a woman has to serve 2 years and a man 3. Right. I may be wrong.
We can check that.
But everybody has to serve in some capacity. I love that. I think that's amazing. And they have massive national pride there. Massive.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.